what you get from $60 a week is invaluable. It's a lifelong lesson. This is an investment in yourself.
And I think as well, it's a lot of people...
Hello and welcome to another vlog on YouTube and podcast on Spotify by the Fit Minds podcast. Coach Mariah Jean and Coach Chloe Jane here.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm really good. How are you?
I'm fantastic. This is round 2. Just tried to start the podcast and my pets were just attacking
Lolly's
each other.
like...
I was like, motherfucker.
But we were talking about book week.
We were doing my book week and I was complimenting you on your beautiful
My
neutral
neutrals.
outfit. And you said, Josh, book
Sienna
Sienna
had
to
school for me, so
Yeah,
I
this
had a
morning.
little extra time.
So book week,
Yes.
Sienna dressed up as
Cinderella.
gorgeous.
Yeah.
Love the
Stunning.
outfit.
Chef's kiss. I found out on Friday.
You know what? You are an incredible mother to be able to pull that together in that time.
Thank you, Amazon Prime.
How did you, does it come that quickly?
Came on Sunday.
That's so cool.
Yeah, wild.
The world we live in. Back in the day, if you had wanted a costume.
What a cut, should have
wanted
went in.
It's a great start to the podcast. Wanted a costume for book week. We either made our own.
Yeah.
I saw some very
Well, because mum had said to me, she's like, if I had known, I would have made her an outfit. And I said, Mum, I found out on Friday. And it was because the teacher turned around and was like, don't forget, dress up as your favourite book character on Monday. And I'm like, come again? What?
We're screwed, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you did very well. Very proud of you for that.
Thank
Proud
you.
mum moment. So today we're going to get stuck into a topic which is probably more for potential clients. And if you are, a lot of current clients listen to this podcast.
Yes.
If you're a current client and you know someone who has said, I want to get into coaching, who has seen your results, who has gone, I really want to work with your coach, blah, and then they say, but I don't think I'd be able to afford it. Penny drop moment, I need to be able to afford it.
I think obviously we understand that in today's society and economic and all that sort of
I
shit,
get it. Everything's
it's
tight.
really hard.
Tight.
Um,
There's a few reasons though why things are tight. It's not just because interest rates are up for houses and rent is through the roof and
low income.
low income people aren't getting raises at work, everything like that. But it's also because think of how many added costs we have now that we never used to have because people are selling to us, or we've got like things like Apple storage, Spotify, stuff that we just didn't have to pay for before because it was
Disney
exist.
Plus, Paramount, Netflix. There's so many different TV
Uber Eats, the
subscriptions.
delivery fees.
Oh,
because
that's a dangerous
we
one.
used to just get pizza and get it delivered.
How's Domino's doesn't deliver out here?
That's rude. I've seen the Domino's car around.
He doesn't deliver out
So he delivers
out
to
in
here,
Nirimba.
but not to Nirimba. That's funny. Well, that's not a bad thing, I suppose. You missed out on Domino's. But the cost of, yes, we understand. Cost of living, having children, the more children you have, the more costly it is or whatever. Coaching as well. It's seen to be this like luxury item. Would you classify coaching as a necessity or a luxury?
Depends on the sort of person that you are. If you have self-accountability and knowledge and can program and do what you need to do efficiently by yourself, then no. But if you struggle with all of that above, then yes.
Yeah. I think if we really want to look at it from facts, it's always a luxury.
Yeah.
Netflix is a luxury. Uber Eats is a luxury. Brand name clothing, luxury. We have a
Well,
lot
it's
of
like
luxuries.
when I have conversations with my parents, because we grew up pretty poor.
Yeah, so did we.
And like when I tell them about, we took Sienna to the markets and she got this, this and this and this. Mum and Dad would be like, why? When you were growing up, you got taken to the park. Or like I'll be like, I took her to Rollerdrome and she got all this. And it's like, when you were younger, we would take you down to a park.
Yeah.
Didn't cost anything.
Yeah, we would go to the local pub and Mum would, if I was lucky and I'd be a good girl, I'd get a crunchy.
I was going to say,
Chocolate
if
crunchy.
we'd been good kids, then we'd get a
Pack of
30
chips.
cent cone.
Or pack of chips from behind the bar. And if they didn't have chips, we'd have nuts. And you know what? I didn't really like the nuts, but I wouldn't complain.
Yeah,
because they're
it was a
treat.
privilege. Yeah.
Yeah, or we got to watch them play pool. That was our pastime. And sometimes we didn't even have enough coins for the pool, so Mum would watch other people play pool.
Yeah, you'd all just sit there.
It's fascinating.
And it's crazy. And now, like, I sit back and I go, oh shit, I really don't have that much money. But when I look at it in that respect, it's like, okay, well, where am I delegating my money?
Yes.
And I think that's where it comes down to the way in which you delegate your money. And there's lots of ways,
Even just looking at your bank account.
Lots of bank accounts these days, I was saying to you before, they have the option where you can actually view where your money is going. So it's like eating, bills, blah, 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 blah.
If you ran a business, because I run a business, right, would you assess as frequently as possible your outgoing costs and expenses to run
absolutely.
the business? Would you not assess your overheads
Exactly.
and go, yes, you know, my profit's not really there. Why is it not there?
Yeah.
You know, I'm making revenue, but how come I'm not profiting? And if you're not currently saving money, and most people aren't saving money.
I haven't saved money in a long time.
Exactly. And it's like, okay, so if you're not saving, and let's say you've got a goal to save, then maybe coaching may not be for you, especially depending on where your income bracket is, right? So yeah, if you're not looking at actively saving money, and let's say you haven't got anything that you want to save for, or let's say you do want to save, like you're like, right, I'm not saving money, I need to have a look at my finances. Because people also as well, it's effort. So it's like going over your finances is effort, right? And so running the business, every quarter, I go over expenses that are coming out of the business and I go, do I need to increase my prices where I need to? Because trust me, with coaching, the amount of things we've got to pay for, training platforms, we've got
Insurances.
that metabolic health screening app, which has got a yearly fee, insurance, registration. You've got 2 different types of insurance. You've got nutrition and you've got fitness insurance. You've got GST, you've got tax. And then you've also got like things like Dropbox storage for client check-ins. You've got, what's another overhead that I pay? Going to shows, accommodation, uniforms for coaches, for myself, for Alex, for yourself. So then you've got travel, fuel, tickets to shows we've got to pay for as well. And it's like, these costs.
A lot of money.
People go, oh yeah, but it's just running a business. We've got to wear the cost and then we don't make any money. So it's like people look at coaching and think, oh,
it's easy money.
Bit expensive, easy money. It's not easy money because we don't see a lot of that. We don't, as coaches, even online, people assume as online we don't have overheads. Fuck oath, we have overheads. Our overheads may not be rent in a gym, but we have rent in a house where we need a spare room to be able to do work. And so it makes for a much harder explanation of people go like, oh, how come it, you know, what's included? Well, a lot is included in coaching, but then also our overheads. And so I always look at my overheads and I'm like, okay, where can I pull this in? I pay for Spotify and Apple storage as well, and I don't pay for Netflix, my partner does, Alex does. But then we've got health insurance and we've got, you know, pet insurance, and the list goes on. Phone bill, internet bill, it's nuts. It's all these costs that come out all the time. And you think,
And there's necessities.
There's necessities and there's luxuries. And so I personally think that coaching is a luxury. I mean, I know for some people, I think honestly in instances where it's their health and where like, let's say they're saying, okay, well, I've got really bad high blood pressure, I've got cholesterol issues, I've got X, Y, Z. I think it's a necessity. Because I think it's gotten to a point where
They need intervention.
You need this intervention, you need this help, and you can't do this on your own. So I think it goes from being a luxury to a necessity when it's your health and your life on the line. However, just because it is a luxury doesn't mean that you can't have it. Do you know what I mean? And so I guess it's kind of pick your luxuries. Is your luxury Uber Eats a couple times a week? If you look at Uber Eats these days, we paid $100 for 2 steaks and chips and vegetables for Uber Eats.
Wild.
A few months ago now. And it was shit. It tasted like crap. If you can afford Uber Eats, even one delivery of Uber Eats a week,
I think Josh and I spend like an average of like $60.
you can afford coaching as a couple.
Because it was like, yes, over the weekend, I was thinking about it before. It was like, so we went to Kmart to get a couple of things, ended up getting more than I needed. So that was like $200. We then went out for sushi, which was like $60.
Full transparency.
And then what did we do after that? We then went to Coles because we needed a couple. Oh, then I got groceries, and then I got extra groceries because I'd forgotten groceries. And by that point, literally in a day, I spent like $500, $600.
Easy to do.
And I was like, where the freaking hell is that coming from?
A lot of it is because This is the phenomena, right? People are so low on dopamine.
Yeah.
You know, they're depressed, they're anxious, they're not exercising, they're not eating very well. And so they're low on dopamine already.
And they need to get a hit from
They
somewhere.
need to get a hit. And so all of a sudden they're spending money all over the fucking joint on everything. And then they're depressed because they're not exercising and they're not getting the right
And I'm
nutrition.
really guilty of, like, Sienna will be like, oh, can I get this? And I'm like,
I'd be
yeah,
a
sure,
pushover
baby.
too, honestly, I really would.
And it's tricky as well, because, like, obviously she goes to her dad's as well. So it's like when she's with me, I want to be giving her everything that I can. Not like it's a game, like a competition.
But you also don't want to be the one that says no all the time.
But yeah, I don't want to be the parent that...
You don't want to be the bad guy.
Yeah, and like she's just had a huge life adjustment. Like she's just become a big sister from his side. So I want to be able to make sure that when she's with me, that she understands that she is my whole focus. And like, not saying that it's a bad thing. She's loving being a big sister, but it can be tricky for that adjustment.
It's hard when children are involved, I do agree, because even Alex and I will look at expenses for Lila and we'll be like, oh.
Because how much did you end up paying for her nursery?
So in total, this is full transparency, God, you should put me on the line here. The nursery, but plus also some medical things, because it was all split down the middle.
Yeah.
And the baby shower and everything all combined was $13,000.
Wild.
It is our first baby. However, I will just a second before everybody drops their coffee.
Everyone's like, holy fuck.
I will admit a huge chunk of that was on a belly casting that I did. No one's seen it yet. It's like almost $1,000 in that.
That one that's in the garage.
Yep, that's a belly cast. Yeah, we did it ourselves. It probably needs to be fixed, to be honest, because we didn't do it quite right. But
$1,000 for that.
almost $900. Yep. So for the materials.
I could have just paper mache it, babe.
I know it's real. The paper maches are really cheap, but I hate the quality of them. I like the.
Are you gonna frame it?
Yeah, I want to put it on a stand. So you can get like a metal stand and
For $800, you want a freaking gold-plated plate.
well, I haven't even bought the stand yet. I want to mount it, but I don't know how to. It's quite heavy.
Yeah, it is heavy.
Yeah, so we'll see how we go with that. I know a lady in Brisbane who might be able to mount it for me, so we'll see how that goes.
But yeah.
So in the baby shower itself was probably $3.5 grand. We were going to have it in the park, but then it was raining the day of our baby shower, so we had to pay $700 for a venue like a day before. We didn't really typically do baby showers, but it worked out.
It was beautiful.
It was stunning. But yeah, you pay for what you get.
Yeah.
And it was our first, you know, and also because it took 1.5 years to have her.
Yeah.
Spending that money. But also, we went all neutrals, and all of the stuff that we have in
You
her
can
nursery,
reuse.
we can reuse for a second baby, if we can even conceive a second baby. Because people talk about having a second, and I'm like, you don't know how much trouble we had with having a first, whether or not we can ever have a second. Anyway, I digress. Finances. So being able to afford things. If you want to justify it, you can afford it, right? I justified spending the money that we did on having you as a nanny. If we can afford having you, we make it work. There are some people who could not afford a nanny and they would have childcare, or their mother would not be working. The only reason why we can is because I'm also working. So we wouldn't be able to.
It allows you to be able to work. Yeah.
I mean, am I profiting a lot at the moment? Probably not as much
But
as I would
even when
like.
you think about like childcare, a lot of mothers are in, like, I remember when Sienna was in childcare and I was working pretty much full time, the amount of money that I was spending on childcare
Almost cancelled out the reason, while you were working.
While I was working.
Yeah. It really does get to that point where you realise everybody's trying to take money from me, right?
Well, even Centrelink, right? I remember after I first had Sienna and I was getting back into the workforce, it's actually like they sit there and they say that, oh, we only deduct a small amount of money when you get back into work, like you'll always be in profit, right? I worked out that it was more financially sustainable for me not to go back to work and to not work and live off the dole than to go back to work for the, like,
you think about it, the government's trying to take money from you, the tax, and look, there's reasons why.
Oh, I understand, and like as like my dad's a high tax income earner, and like I understand that they're the ones funding Centrelink and all that sort of stuff, and your tax money and my tax money.
We get taxed. Alex and I get taxed so heavily because we are considered moderate to higher income earners, and to be honest, because of that reason, we don't actually see much of our money anymore because obviously we've chosen to have a nanny, and that's perfectly fine. But like our leftover funds for the week to be able to spend on fun stuff is not like
not there.
lavish, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So as far as being able to make things work, it's where you're allocating what's important to you.
Exactly.
If you don't believe that your health is important, right? Like if you're in a situation where you're cruising along, you're doing pretty well, your finances aren't great, but you're not unhealthy, you're exercising, you're eating pretty well, you might want to lose a couple kilos, but you're not overly fussed, right? And if you're feeling pretty positive, and then maybe you don't need coaching. You don't. But if you're in a position where you have no idea what the fuck you're doing, where you have no support, where you do not exercise, you don't look after yourself, you're not eating well, you're unwell, your children aren't eating well, you're suffering, you're mentally not feeling great about yourself, your self-esteem is in the fucking ground. There is a point where coaching is not only a luxury, but
you need it.
You desperately need this person in your life, right? You need Chloe or myself in your life. And we're not trying to sell you this. The amount of times I've said to clients when they're going through this sign-up process, I have said to them, my job is not to sell you on this. My job is not to say, hey, you need coaching no matter what, and sign up now and hurry up and do it.
Yeah.
Because I don't actually want to take people's money.
Unless they
actually really want to be doing coaching. And people will say to me stuff like, I've had clients be like, oh, I think I should come back to coaching. And I'm like, how to track macros, how to do your training. Girl,
we're not greedy.
Girl, you don't need me. Like, it's okay, you don't need me. And I will tell people when they don't need me. And I will tell people when they fucking need me. And I'm like, and I will look at someone's life and go, hey, if you don't do this for yourself now, all of the other costs and expenses you have won't mean shit. You going out and spending money on
Stroganoff,
binge drinking or holidays or whatever, none of this is actually going to do anything because you're going to feel like shit and you're going to feel fucking miserable after the whole thing.
That dopamine's going to wear off eventually.
It does. You go for the big shop. I've done it occasionally. I tend to be that person who won't spend money for ages. And then all of a sudden I will just drop like $1,000 on something and go like, oh,
Yeah, done.
So especially with clothes, I won't buy clothes for like an entire year.
I didn't buy activewear for probably like 6-7 months.
Yeah.
And then I just bought some.
Randomly bought a big bunch. Yeah, I did the same. And then you just kind of get over it and off you go.
I finally used the $100 that mum
You did the
gave me
voucher.
for my birthday.
Good. It's an update, guys. But I think with coaching, let's talk about, because we've talked about you can shuffle your finances, you can look at your priorities. At the end of the day, how many people come to us and go, how much is coaching? And like if the first question you have is how much is coaching, you don't really have much of an interest in coaching, do you? Because you're not saying, hey, look, these are my goals, this is what I'm looking at achieving. In your mind, you're like, is this worth money? Is this even worth money?
Yeah.
Yes, you have to pay someone for a service, right? If you don't value coaching, if you don't see coaching as being something that is, because for us, it takes a lot for us to get our qualifications. It is fucking hard.
And expensive.
Expensive. Our assessments are not easy.
No.
You know, the stuff that we go through, right?
My mentee last week.
Chloe has been experiencing this. The things that we go through to become educated, I don't think you understand how in-depth it is.
And
Also,
the upkeep. We have to do...
CBD assessment update.
Every year.
And what we have to regurgitate in that to be able to practice, you know, to then go, okay, how do I figure this out, right? So it's not like, for example, when you go to a GP, you're more than happy to pay them $160.
Well, I was going to comparison it to like a dog groomer, right? You can do that at home.
Yeah.
You can do that yourself.
Yeah.
But you choose, if at some point your dog is matted and needs extra help and rah-de-rah, you would do that for your dog. Go get an expensive groomer and get them what they need. Yeah. You are the dog.
Yeah. But even a veterinarian, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you're going to a vet and you're like, my dog needs surgery, my dog needs a special diet or whatever. You go visit this vet and you respect the vet and you respect their prices. It's expensive for a very good reason. Vets go and get qualifications.
Yeah.
And you've seen the studies that are required for veterinarian qualifications. It's nuts.
Wild.
Ours are slightly shorter because it's specifically nutrition. However, it doesn't make it any less hard. It's complex biochemistry, for fuck's sake. This stuff is not easy. Also, to have this qualification and to hold it, to keep the legal insurance involved and everything like that. So when you come to a coach, please respect the fact that the amount of effort, time, knowledge, education, money. I've spent $45,000 on my education. In the past 10 years, $45,000, right? And people go, look, you know, that's pretty standard for uni. Yes, it is. But that's so I can be a better coach. That's so I can show up for my clients.
See, I have a HEC step that for a course that I didn't even do.
Yeah,
I went in to do nursing, and
Yeah.
I was there for a year. I'm not even a year.
And these are the other expenses of life that end up adding up. So respect coaches and their prices, number one, would be the first thing. If their price is their price, it's a price for a reason.
They haven't just gone, oh,
It's just fucking
that number.
and just go. The other part of it is too is that people actually tell me I'm pretty cheap. Like they're like, oh, you know, you're pretty affordable. That's actually
all right.
yeah, like that's
Yeah.
I thought you would have been more, you know, because people assume about coaching that it's really expensive, that it's out of their league.
They already have the ideology in their heads that it's a luxury. It's
I don't
going to be
need it.
expensive. You know, when you go in with that mind frame, obviously.
Yep. And you're going in with this idea that you already don't want it and you already don't need it, right? And so you're
Tell me the cost and I'll make the decision.
and you're convincing yourself already before even going through with things that, oh no, I can do this myself. Well, I'm sorry, but has that been working for you so far? Has doing it yourself? This is the same reason why when you want someone to clean your house after moving out, you get a bond clean. Because the bond clean is done by experts and it saves you motherfucking time and energy and effort, and you don't have to go and do your nutritional studies as a result of, do you know what I mean, like you know, wanting to be able to do this yourself. The great thing too about coaching, and I've said this so many times, we try to teach our clients as much as possible
Sustainable.
so that they can do it long term, right? Because I don't want to have you on my books for 6 years.
Yeah.
I think if I've got a client on my books for longer than 3 years, it better be because they're competing and they want to get better. Other than that, I want a client to come and go as they please. And
You haven't, see, the way I view it is I haven't done my job is if you don't at the end up leaving me.
correct. If you haven't graduated, it's called graduating from coaching for a reason. And if a coach tries to keep you on board and scares you into it and says after 2 years, oh
no, you're not ready yet.
oh, you're going to do terribly without me. And, oh, the big bad world out there and you're going to gain 10 kilos. And it's like, bro, those scare tactics. We are like teachers and mentors. And if a person does really well without us, that's a fucking win.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a huge win.
It means, it gives me the warm fuzzies knowing like
That's our goal.
we have done it.
Together, as a team.
Yeah.
So now you know, right? We're not here to fucking take your money. We will tell you if you don't need us. We'll tell you if you really do need us. We'll go, okay, it sounds like
See,
you
the
really
thing
need help.
is as well, is a lot of people as well coming to us with your goals rather than being like, oh, blah, 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 what's the cost? It also gives us the ability to determine whether we're going to be a good fit.
Correct. We can connect with you.
I think that's important as well.
If you start talking about how much does coaching cost, that is literally as logical as going into a store and not trying a piece of clothing on, looking at the price tag and going, nah, right? Now, we do that
I was going to say
sometimes.
guilty.
No, we do that, right? But how many times have you done that and then missed out on trying something that probably could have been the perfect dress that you wanted?
Yeah.
And it could have saved you from going to another 10 stores. And it could only be $20, maybe more than you were thinking of spending.
Yeah.
Not even that. Sometimes we go into things with an idea of what we're wanting to spend without actually knowing why.
Yeah.
You know, why is my budget only $50 for a dress? Why is my budget only $20 for, I don't know, whatever, a meal out or whatever? And so we understand budgets. We do understand budgets. But if you actually look at the cost of coaching, and even full transparency, the cheapest coaching cost ongoing for us is $60 per week.
Yeah.
$60, right? And you probably look at, it's really interesting. Some people say, oh, wow, that's really cheap. That's really affordable, right? And others look at coaching as if it's some sort of like Netflix subscription. They want to pay $12 a week for it, like a gym membership. Do you think that you're going to get us one-on-one?
I was going to say, as the service that we provide to you, the time, the energy,
overheads,
the overheads that we give to you,
the study, the knowledge,
$12 a week,
emotional support. Do you want us to work for $2 an hour?
Oh, it would barely even be that.
There have been some clients, honestly, though, who have not respected my time, who've not understood that this is how this works, who have cost me money because I've spent that much time with them. And I love spending time with my clients, but it's because they can't fathom in their mind. I can't message my coach every single hour on the hour, every day, 7 days a
lot
week.
of people struggle to think because you're so warm and welcoming, and a lot of people cling to you and go, oh, she's my bestie.
Yeah. Everyone thinks they're my bestie.
Yeah, I mean, I am your bestie.
Chloe's actually in my house. You change my kids' nappies, so this is a whole different kettle of fish.
You're not my friend, you're just my nanny.
No. I mean, as in like you do the things that no one else would want to do.
Yeah.
You're
And
right.
I think a lot of people take advantage of you.
Yep.
In that respect.
Or it's on the opposite end. They're either taking advantage, or on the opposite end, they don't communicate enough.
No.
And they're spending $60 a week, and I don't hear from them, and I'm chasing them for check-ins, going, bro, like you are spending money.
Yeah.
Like, I need to get you to see that this is something that you're burning cash on, right? And so people assume coaches are like, I don't know, business people who just either want to take and don't want to give as much as possible.
Well, that was when I sort of decided with you that I was going to take the week break that I did, was when I was like, oh, I don't actually want to check in. And I was like, okay,
That's when
maybe I need to just
Had a
have a break. It only lasted a week.
No, you did only last a week, yeah.
Yeah.
And now I'm trying to teach you how to coach yourself now, which is really quite beneficial.
Yeah.
And that's a process. I think you're doing exceedingly well. I think you're doing really well.
We'll get there.
Yeah. So on the note of pricing, $60 a week, cheapest option. That's ongoing. You get someone to check in with you. We're not going to talk about frequency and all that type of stuff, or otherwise it's the Fierce 8-week journey, which is fucking popping off at the moment.
It's so good. I'm so excited.
Well, that was what spurred up this discussion for can you afford coaching, is cost. Because people were going like, what's the cost of Fierce? And it's like, it's true.
We understand it is important, right? Because at the end of the day, a lot of people do have budgets, and a lot of people are on really tight budgets, and we understand that. But one thing I've learned growing up, starting from working since I was 14 and then having income and stuff like that, you make do for what you want.
100%. You make it work. That's right.
You always make it work, regardless.
Yeah, you do.
Like, if there's ever a time where your rent's late and you don't have enough money, you go out and you sell a couple of things. You always make do.
We don't sell anything on Facebook Marketplace, and I've got the TV in up now just because I want to get rid of it, the old one. We give away a lot of stuff. But look, if I was strapped for cash, fuck yeah, I'd be selling stuff on Facebook.
Jump on a lot of, like, I know a lot of mums and stuff like that struggle during their free time, very limited, but they'll do DoorDash or Uber Eats deliveries. You always make do.
You find a way. And the other thing with coaching as well is that the value you get from it, you end up not spending money on takeaway, right? So when you're coaching, you're tracking macros, you're on a meal plan. You're saving money because you're buying things in bulk for your groceries, right? And we do meal plans that aren't lavish. We don't make you buy...
Unless you want it.
We don't make you buy quinoa and, unless obviously we need to put quinoa in for a vegan, for example. But we don't make you go and buy like these ridiculously expensive ingredients.
A lot of the times when I'm doing my meal plans, I'll actually jump on Coles, Woolies, and see what's on special.
Yeah. And what's more viable and what long-term, getting bigger peanut butter jars and buying toilet paper in bulk and buying your Milo cereal in bulk. A big tip I have kept since I think I was doing it for like from a letter on a morning show, was the financial advice to buy shop per 100 gram on the ticket.
Yeah.
Right? So basically, what's the cheapest option per 100 gram, right? Basically, if it says $1 per 100 gram versus $2 per 100 gram, I'm going to get the $1 per 100 gram. Just because something's cheaper than the other. Cheaper than the other. Doesn't mean that, sorry, I've been... Why is she panting all of a sudden? No, I've been...
She went for a jog.
Dealing with my dog again. Shows how unfit I am. Mum life. So, if just because something's cheaper doesn't mean, and this is a whole concept, just because it's cheaper doesn't mean it's better with anything in life. I saw recently a coach who was offering $25 subscriptions to their app. Ooh, seems appealing, doesn't it? Hell yeah, $25, so cheap. And it's like, you are getting the exact same program as everybody else. It's probably
getting an AI
body weight. You probably don't even get any support at all. You may be getting AI, you may not be getting AI. the emails that you're sending for support, you're probably going to have a really delayed response if you even get a response. The responses are probably a couple of words. You know,
We'll refer you to the correct team.
yeah, well, or even just if it is that coach that you're working with, it probably isn't. They've got so many coaches have got what's called ghostwriters, which are people who are not them. I'll use some big names. Lauren Simpson is one of them that I know of, and I hate to drop her name. I don't know what she's doing now because she's had a baby. She might be doing her own clients. I don't know, but the sheer volume that she puts through.
EBT.
You are EBT. You are delirious if you think that you are only dealing with that coach.
Yeah.
Thousands of people, and they're making fucking bank. They're making, and I could do that. I could do 20,
Make an app.
I could make an app. I could do $25 subscriptions. I could, pay for Facebook ads and just blow my business up and make dickloads of money with very little, of a subscription. So I could do that. We could, and we both could. We could do a subscription service for $20 a week, put everybody on the same program, and then just not talk to anybody and have 100 people in a group and have majority of those people just completely drop off and not be able to not give a shit, not feel like they've got that accountability, and just I could do a webinar but no one could answer questions or ask questions or whatever, and
it could just be like a common question.
100 people in it, and it feels wrong doing that. I couldn't do it. For those watching on YouTube and listening to the podcast, if you do hear a little gremlin baby, it's because she woke up from her nap. So we're going to finish the podcast with a baby. It's just how it is. But we could do that. We could do subscription-based stuff that is no personal touch, no personalised programs, no personalised training or meal plans, nothing. And no interaction, no actual messaging with us. There's no sort of reality in that though.
Yeah, it's all...
Yeah, they set up a lot of non-specific communication. You think you're talking to the coach, you are not talking to the coach. For $20 a week, you're not talking to a real person. Or you're talking to someone in the Philippines. It's just not viable in Australia for a coach to have a client on board for $20 per week. So the whole point is, if you want actual coaching, one-on-one coaching, can you afford it? The answer is yes. You can. The answer is always yes. Unless you're on Centrelink and...
But even on Centrelink.
You probably could afford it, yeah.
You can still afford it.
You can find a way.
So if anyone... So when I was a single parent and I wasn't working, you bring home about $1,400 a fortnight.
Right, that's nuts. So I suppose you probably could afford it on Centrelink, you could afford it. And this is the thing, I hear from so many people who are on a budget, and I'm like, maybe they've got car repayments, maybe they've got a house repayment, so maybe they've got other payments that are non-negotiable, you can't get around them, you can't remove them, and that, I guess that's okay.
That's, you understand that.
Understandable. But if you're just saying, I can't afford it because you're just telling yourself, I'm not saving any money at the moment.
You haven't even drafted.
You haven't assessed it. Yeah.
And where your expenses are going.
You think about it, you're working with a coach. Are you going to be spending money on takeaway every week? Probably shouldn't be. No, alcohol. Yeah.
Uber Eats.
Uber Eats.
And you're not going to, I know personally, when I'm not on plan and on track, I waste hundreds of dollars on groceries.
Random shit. Yeah. Random foods.
It ends up going off.
Yeah. When you're in a deficit, being in a deficit's actually really freaking cheap. Dieting is so cheap.
It's literally just like veggies and some sort of protein. Yeah. And
made in bulk. You bulk make your meals, so it's cheaper as well.
Potatoes.
The amount of money. Chloe's a champion entertainer here. The amount of money that you save coaching. It's actually interesting. Can you afford not to coach? Is probably the question we should be asking people. Because you save money coaching because you're not wasting money on a million things in a week because you're paying someone $60 a week, right? Or at a minimum. To then be accountable to then not spend all this money on takeaway,
exactly right.
To then not be spending money on alcohol and cocktails and living your lavish lifestyle on Instagram, and putting back into yourself. And what you get from $60 per week, what you get, even Lila's shocked.
Oh my goodness.
What you get from $60 a week is invaluable. It's a lifelong lesson. This is an investment in yourself.
And I think as well, it's a lot of people fail to forget, like we said, that our goal is for you to graduate from us, right?
Yeah.
And
it's a skill.
The things that we can teach you and you can use then long term to better value yourself, right? It's worth that period of spending the $60 a week.
It's worth thousands and thousands and thousands
You
of
can then
dollars.
utilize that for years and years and years and years and years and years and years to come. You can then influence that on your kids.
Imagine
and
not
they can
having to spend
influence
money on
it
antidepressants.
on their kids. Exactly. Mental
Anti-anxiety
health
medications.
benefits.
Yeah.
Like the money that you can save in the future.
We also give you tips on how to save money in coaching as well. So something I like to do with a lot of clients is when they, they'll talk to me and they'll go, what supplement should I be taking? And they might be on 6 different
Well,
supplements.
I actually had a client reach out and be like, oh, should I start taking a greens powder?
No, you don't need it.
The actual nutritional value, I actually did it. I read through a case study done, and the actual nutritional value of a greens powder.
It's like dirt, cardboard, nada, and zilch. We will be able to tell you what vitamins and minerals you need to be taking, if any, right? Because most of the time, it's not actually anything.
No.
You don't need to take protein powder to get your protein up, maybe.
Yeah.
Pre-workout if you don't like coffee, maybe.
Yeah.
And
or both.
creatine if you like to, creatine if you like to grow, or both if you like to live life on the edge. But we're here to help you save money. I'm literally here to tell people what you're wasting money on. So that then when you hire a coach, it's crazy. You're spending $60 a week, right? Minimum.
Yeah.
120 if you like to be a baller and have a weekly check-in with me. But you're spending this money on coaching per week. And all of a sudden you're realizing, oh my God, I'm not spending money on other shit. On all this other shit that's been going out of my bank account. Fat loss products, waist trainers.
And a lot of, I don't mean to slag any other trainers out there and whatnot, but a lot of them are sponsored.
Yes.
Right? They are paid to promote you these products.
Absolutely.
The more sales they make, the more money they make.
And I'm transparent. I've got a sub-sponsor, Alien. I don't pressure people into purchasing Alien. I'm just like, here's a discount code. If you want to, you can. If you don't want to, you don't have to. I love their proteins. But I've seen people who are sponsored or connected with, for example, the brand Switch, I think it is.
Or EHP.
And holy shit, it's like a cult.
OxyShred?
It's like a cult.
OxyShred's a big one.
I had a client recently send me who was with a coach, and the coach had prescribed, not even prescribed, 10 different supplements, and they were all stacked up next to each other. And I just went, 8 of those 10 are completely fucking useless.
Yeah.
And I could even say maybe even 9 of those 10, depending on what stage you are in your prep or whatever. And she's just smiling at me. So it's like, we're not here to take money from you and take advantage of you. Number 2, we are here to help you save money in as many ways as we can, which ends up being that spending $60 a week on a coach or $60 on 8-week journey is actually giving you money back that you wouldn't be spending on takeaway, on coffees, on alcohol, on subscription services you don't need, on supplements that you don't need, on bullshit that you just don't need to buy, and that we'll be able to vouch for that, right? Because we have that professional opinion and we've studied this. If you think about it, coaching is not just an investment in you long term, and it's your life changes forever.
Yeah.
You are never the same.
It's something that you always have with you.
That's right.
It's not something you just lose.
I've spent $26,000, 26 grand on business coaches, right? So that's business coaching. That's not even fitness coaching, because obviously this podcast is about coaching in general, but I've spent 26 grand on business coaches alone. And people go, that's a lot of money to spend. I'm like, yeah, you know what? It's an investment in my business.
Yeah.
Because I have got that back, right? Definitely got that back in my business, and been able to figure out ways of doing things that are more efficient, which then I get my time back, which is far more valuable, right? And so in the long term, when you spend money on things, you've got to understand the purpose behind it. She's got a cough going on. Does it give back to you? Do you get something from it?
Does this bring me value?
Right? Or is it something that's a consumable that you'll never see ever again and that you'll never use ever again? So anyway, on that note, I think we're going to finish up. I don't think I've got much else to note with being able to afford coaching. If you want to talk about coaching with us, we give you a free consult, right? You literally have nothing to lose. And when we follow you up, if we do message you again and go, hey, what are your thoughts? We don't bug the crap out of you. No. We tend to go like, are you still wanting coaching? If you're not, that's okay. You're not in the mood or good or not in the space. That's totally fine. But please know that you can talk to both of us. We're not going to hard sell you.
A lot of the time that we reach out is because our spots are filling up.
Yeah, and I've got sign-ups all over the fucking joint. And I'm not just saying that. You've seen the spreadsheet.
Oh,
it is
wild.
going nuts at the moment. And
Yeah.
I literally only have, I think, 3 spots available for Fierce. You've only got 4 coaching spots available.
You've
I've only
got
got
one.
1. Pretty sure I've almost filled that today,
Yeah.
thankfully, because obviously people see social media. And we're not screwing around here. We don't have an unlimited amount of people to work with because we don't have an unlimited amount of days, hours in a day. But we want to do it personalized. We want to make sure it is us. It's not some AI or someone in the Philippines or whatever. It is, and don't get me wrong, my virtual assistant in the Philippines, I love you to pieces.
Thanks, Carol.
But Carol doesn't coach.
Yeah.
Carol does admin and marketing. She doesn't coach. And so it's really important we have coaches actually coaching and doing what they need to do because they're qualified. And then we're not outsourcing that component of it because that can't be replaced. You cannot replace that. So, yeah, we want to make sure that we can do this, Butte, and that's why we have cap spaces. We don't just cap our spaces because we're trying to pretend like we genuinely don't have like an unlimited amount of spots to work with. So we don't want to overflow and overfill ourselves, so that then we don't give everybody the time and energy that they need. So yeah, have a chat with us. Have a free consult, meaning that online we will be happy to do voice recordings. We'll be happy to chat back and forth by email or message. It's on your terms of time as well, because it doesn't have to be like a set time. We're not doing video calls, and that way you can just say, look, these are my goals. This is what I'm wanting to achieve. Do we think it's achievable in the time that you want to achieve it in? If you've got a wedding coming up, whatever it is, we're able to look after you. If you're postpartum, if you're breastfeeding, all of the above, we've got you covered, and we can just talk about you to start off with.
Yeah.
Talk less about the money, and then if you want to.
I think the thing to remember is that we will always give you a price in the end.
Of course we will.
At the end of the day, it's what you're paying for.
Yeah.
So we want to get to know you, and like I said, make sure that we're compatible and that we can help you and point you in the right direction.
Numbers and money doesn't mean anything if you don't put value to it first.
Yeah.
It'd be like someone walking into a shop and going, I want this item, right? And they go, how much is it? And the shopkeeper says, well, it's $50. And the person says, well, can I see it? And he goes, no, it's $50. So you haven't even seen the thing you're paying for. So why do you care how much it is until you know what it does, what it gives back to you, yada.
Exactly right.
So the reason why we do that isn't because we know that, yes, in theory, absolutely. Like if we don't talk about prices first, we can kind of have that connection with you first. But it's for a very good reason.
Yeah.
It's so that you can actually see the value, and so that you don't immediately walk away going, $60, oh, just for training and nutrition. It's not just training and nutrition. We do so much more for our clients. We are literally your pocket coach. And if you talk to any of my current clients, they all say the same thing. Holy crap, you guys put in so much goddamn effort to your clients all the time. Even our reply times are ridiculously quick. Every day you're going to hear from us. If you want to hear from us every day, you will. So, it's not even a case of can you afford coaching. It's you can afford coaching. It's just the way that you're looking at it as to why you think that you can't. So,
that's all.
All right. Are we done? I honestly think Lila is actually going to do pretty well in these podcasts awake now. She seems like this is just, you're tired now. You guys are boring.
All right, next.
So, can we talk a little bit more about milk? I'd like to talk about booby milk, if that's okay.
Let's talk about booby milk and me and poop and wee and vomit.
All of the important things in life. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for tuning in. If in doubt, message us. We really don't bite. We say message us, and then we do get messages, thankfully. And I don't know whether it's podcast listeners, but no one really tells us. But we're not scary. We do talk back. We actually.
And I do get that I can be quite scary looking.
She's not.
I'm really
not. No, you're not. You try really hard to be scary, Chloe. And you know what? To everybody else, you probably are. To me, you're not scary.
Yeah. It's
Not
like
at
people
all.
see me at the gym and they're like,
I see you with Lila. It's the sweetest. She's so good with Lila. And it's like, well, by the way, it is Lila to those.
oh,
The amount of people saying Layla. Spelled L-Y.
say my name is
Don't know where the
Lila.
extra A came from. Guys, anyway, we're going to finish up.
Say bye.
Thanks a lot for tuning in. Looking forward to doing another podcast for you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. There it is.